Hey guys, thank you for joining me again. This is part two of the Docker Mongo Node React video follow-up that I'm posting. I apologize, it's been so long. I've just been so busy with my business and with my work, and I just want to thank you guys for supporting me and watching my videos and giving me your feedback and requesting more content. That's what keeps me on my toes. So I'm going to continue putting out more content. But in the first part of this tutorial, we did two Docker containers or three Docker containers, but they were all separate. There was Node, there was MongoDB, and then there was the React application. And we got them running, but there is no substance to any of that. So this video is going to be putting everything together. We're going to use one Docker Compose file, and I added substance to the application. Now the focus on this video is actually the Docker components. We're not focused on the Express API server that I created, or the Axios requests that I created on the front end. However, I will post this repository. Actually, I'll publish this repository, and I will put the link in the description so that you can access it and you can pull it and use it and test on it and build on it even if you want to. But so let's see what's going on here. Now we've already created the Docker files in each of the front end and the back end. So we have our Docker file here. We went over this in the first video. And then we have our other Docker file right here. This is for the client. Nothing has changed in this file, and nothing has changed in this file. Everything's the same. The only difference is I added more to this back end, so we can actually have a working application, and you can see what that's like when we compose this file up. So I'm going to try to keep this video short, but I'm going to explain everything. The way that it works and how I was able to put everything all together. Okay, so let's move over here to the Docker Compose file. Pull this up. Now, if you remember, we launched three containers separately in the original video. Now we want one file with three containers inside of it, one command, launch everything. So up here. This is the Docker Compose file. A Compose file always has to start with the version. Then you start listing out the services. And I just named them. I have backend. The container name is going to be backend. We're going to always restart this container unless we stop it. So if it goes down, it'll automatically restart unless we stop it. And this is really important here because this is actually going to build our image, our Node Express server image. And what this is doing is, because you see this is in the root, this is pointing to the Node.js directory. And by default, this is going to build the Docker file in this directory. So I didn't have to specify a file name or anything like that. This is automatically going to pick that up and build the image for us if it has not already been built. And anytime that we make changes within this directory and it notices something different, then it will rebuild our image for us. So that's really cool. So we don't have to run any Docker run commands. We don't have to worry about any of that. And we're going to expose 4000 because this is where I'm running for 4000 on. It's the port variable in the env file. I also wanted to point something else out in this file really quick. So when I was running this locally on my machine and testing it, I had localhost in here. But now that we're running it as a Docker Compose and it's on the same network, same bridge network, it is not on the local host anymore. It's now going to be on the network, and we can actually reference the service name. So when you see this DB here, I'm actually referencing this right here. so it knows that's what we're going after, and it's on this internal network, and my backend is also on this internal network, so it sees that and it picks it up. Anyways, we're gonna want to link up our env file. So that's basically stating this file right here. That's going to be the env file for the container. We're going to do a production environment, put it on the network, and this is dependent on the database. It's dependent on the DB, the MongoDB. That's it. It's really simple. That's going to fire up and build. That's going to build and fire up our backend service Docker container, and then our front end is very similar. We're building out of this directory to the Docker file. Where is it? Right here. Building to the Docker file. And we're setting this is a node path that we're actually using in our Docker file. Right here, path. That's the path to the source directory inside of the container, and then we're publishing port 80 from inside and from outside, and it depends on our back end. So this is dependent on this. Technically, it doesn't have to be, but I have them linked up in that way, so it builds them in. It will build them in order, and then I have DB here. Just name this. This is a MongoDB container. So we're going to name it MongoDB. It's Mongo image. We're going to have an init DB of node app. It's our database that we're starting off with. Let's publish 27017. We're going to have our volumes, which I've created. They're not externally created. I'm going to create them on this compose. And then this belongs to the internal network with everything else. So just a brief explanation. This is gonna, when I fire up the Docker compose up command, the first time I fire it up, it's going to build. It'll take a little longer than it will after, if I have to fire it up again, because it's actually going to run through and build all of these images. It has to build the Node.js and the web container. The MongoDB container, it'll pull it down and work with it on there, but you're going to see these all working together, and then I'm going to fire this up. So like I said, the Docker files, they haven't changed at all. So as long as you build up your Docker file, the main focus is when you're building your application, that if you can just run a Docker run command and you can run your front end and you can see it and it's visual, and you expose port 80 and you just hit it with a Docker run, a manual command, then your container works. You don't have to mess with the Docker file, obviously, unless your application gets a little more complex and you need to add more stuff to it. But this file can stay, and we're just going to build off of it in here. So essentially, we're still building 3 containers, just like we did in the previous video. The only difference is we have a compose file now, so we don't have to fire up all 3 different Docker run commands, and then we don't have to build 3 different images separately. We can just hit one command, and we're going to do that right now. So let's do that. Let's go in here. I'm already in the shell. Bashed in. Let's do just when you're composing a file, a Docker compose file. It's really simple. You Docker compose up, and then the -d flag will run it. It will run it without giving you the verbose. But we're still going to see some stuff here because we have to we have to build the images. So it's going to show us. It creates the network for us. Now it's actually going to build the images for us. We're going to build the back end. That's built. Now we're going to build the front end. And you can go along with this right here too. If you look, you see what it's doing. Oh, there it goes, and that was quick. See, it already built it. So this should work now. I should be able to go to localhost on port 80 and actually check this out. So if I'm in Portainer here, which I don't know if you're familiar with Portainer, but it's really simple to use, really simple to launch. Basically, it gives you a graphical interface of your containers, and you do networks and services in here, and really inspect everything. So if I refresh this, you'll see I have my front end, my back end, and my MongoDB. I'm going to check my logs. This looks good. I think that's working. Then we're going to do back end. That's connected to a database. That's connected to the database, the MongoDB database. And then networks. We have our Docker course internal network, and if you look at it, we have all three of our containers on this same network. So they're all able to communicate with each other. If this MongoDB were on a separate network, it would have a hard time communicating with our application. If we go over here to localhost, there it is. This is the application the little application that I built. And what this does is, if we inspect it here, this is a little React app. I just did stats. I don't know why. So it has a name and a description. And what this is going to do, it's going to insert into the MongoDB database, and then it's going to also update our state in the application. It's going to pop up on the screen. So if I just fill this information with random information here, and I submit, let's go to network tab, make sure that we're running properly. Okay, so if I submit, boom. Okay, so I know it works. It communicated to our API, and which is inside of a container, and it posted it here, because it wouldn't post it here if it didn't. So if I try to post this with nothing, it's going to error out, because you're not allowed to post nothing. You have to have something to post. And I can delete this, and it's going to make another request, and we're getting it deleted. So it's working. This is working. It's very basic, but it's inserting the information, it's connecting, everything's talking to, all the containers are talking to each other, they're communicating, and that's the gist of it, guys. I mean, this is a short video, and keep it short. If you want to check out this repository and pull it down and play with it yourself on your local machine, feel free to do so. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And I'm very appreciative of your support and you're watching my content. And if there's anything else you want to see, or anything else that you want to learn and know more about, just go ahead and leave a comment, and I'll see what I can do. But I'm going to start posting regular content, and make sure if you got something out of this video and it added value to you, that you just hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned, because I'm going to be doing this more frequently, and I really appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for all the latest content, and please leave a like down below if you enjoyed this video. Until next time.